This week's episode brings us more of Jeremy's favorite activity, climbing stairs, as we wrap up our 5-week trip in Michigan. All kidding aside though, we enjoyed some beautiful scenery in this final leg through the Upper Peninsula.
So number one is
how pretty it is up here, as we explored Tahquamenon Falls State Park and the Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. But it wasn't all fun and games, as we had trouble finding diesel exhaust fluid for the truck, and Jeremy had to battle some terrible water pressure issues in the rig. One of Jeremy's favorite things, snakes. Jeremy's other favorite thing, stairs. This one has something like 184 stairs. Luckily, some of them are up, but some of them are also down.
She lies. I don't like these stairs. Now, for those of you, for those of us, who aren't looking to take a long nature hike today, because most of these trails, you get on them and it's going to be several miles. But if you want to get out on one of those trails, but not forever, you can just take the nature trail right back to the parking lot on the way out. That's the cheater's way. It's only about a half a mile, and since you got to get back to the parking lot anyway, you might as well take the nature trail.
Tigers and bears, oh my! So we just got done with the Upper Falls area and it was pretty amazing. Not as touristy as Niagara Falls, but I think still pretty impressive. I actually kind of liked it better because it wasn't as touristy. There weren't as many people. And we are on our way back to the parking lot. And then we're gonna head to the lower falls, which aren't quite as impressive as the Upper Falls, but they're still supposedly worth a look-see. I don't think it's any colder than anywhere else we've been.
I don't know about you, but I think the lower falls were actually prettier than the upper.
I was thinking the same thing.
Not quite as dramatic as the upper because they're not as big, but
right.
Then it was prettier down here. The whole area, this whole part of the park,
yes,
seems to be more well taken care of. The other one was nice, but or maybe this one's just a little bit more updated. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, we're on the Lower Falls Island, and the whole trail is only about half a mile. I didn't even know this was here. In all my research that I did, I didn't know about this, but this is definitely a really good half-mile loop.
All right, after going to gas station after gas station all over town, actually in a couple of different towns, trying to find DEF because nobody sells it at the pump here. The gas stations all want like $33, $33 for some off-brand DEF I've never heard of. So we went to TSC. We got it for, what do you think? Drum roll.
$18.
$16.99.
Ooh.
So.
And we were going to pay $26 tomorrow at Napa.
Yeah. So, note to self. Make sure you get DEF at the pump when you can get it. The campground we're in right now, it seems to have pretty good flow. When we came in yesterday and I did a flush on the black tank and everything, I was getting about 3.6, 3.8 gallons per minute through that line to flush the black tank. However, inside, in the shower, in the faucets inside, the water pressure there is terrible. The water flow rate is terrible there. So I think what I'm gonna do here this morning, I think it might be our filters because they're ready to be changed or due to be changed. But I just want to verify that. So first, to troubleshoot this whole thing, what I'm going to do to begin with is just completely remove the water filter and everything basically in line on that side to see if that water flow comes up to that 3.6 or 3.8, whatever it was that I was getting yesterday. And that'll be our starting point, and then we can start adding components in there to see what actually brings that flow rate down. Actually, the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna turn on the black tank side right now and see what our flow rate is through there. Looks like here we've got about, sorry, it's upside down here, but it's about 3.3. It started out about 3.5 gallons per minute. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start filling the freshwater tank, and we'll see what kind of flow we get on that side. That's the side that's got the filter, it's got the water softener, it's got my smart valve on there. We just want to make sure that we know what the flow rate is on that side right now. And we're getting about 1.7 or so gallons per minute. 1.8, 1.7. All right, so there we go. So there's almost a 2 gallon per minute flow rate difference through there. So there's a problem somewhere in that line. Again, what I've got down here is I've got just the main line coming in from the white hose up through the filter. Now, right upstream of the filter though is a Y, and that's what heads off to the black tank flush. And then we've got it coming into a water filter, or sorry, it's coming into a water softener. And then again, my smart valve. I've got about 45 pounds of pressure on this line. So I know at 45 pounds, I should definitely be getting more flow rate than that. And obviously we saw that in the black tank flush. So I'm going to start just disconnecting things here. And we're basically just going to go straight from the water faucet outside, and we're going to take everything else out, and we're going to feed it right into the city water connection. And we should see that flow rate on the freshwater side of this come up to meet the black tank flush side of this. So we'll see what happens. All right, so now I've got everything removed. The only component I'm going to put back on there is the water meter itself, which hopefully is not the component that's restricting my flow. All right, there we go. So just got to turn the water back on. We'll see what our flow rate is here. So we'll put this flow on. So it's coming up, it's about 3.2, 3.3 now. So it's matching what the other side does. So we know that something in this line that I have removed is restricting the flow to the rig. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start adding components one at a time to see which of those components is restricting the flow. The first component I'm going to put back on is just this smart valve. I don't have any reason to believe that this is the culprit unless it has just recently gone bad. So we've got a good steady flow rate of about 3.2, 3.3, something like that. So it's not the water valve that's restricting my flow. The next step here is I'm going to put the water softener into the line, still going to leave that water filter out. Okay, there we go. We're at about 3.1 gallons per minute, and it's still kind of slowly coming up. So I think the water softener is safe. In the past, we've had a problem with the third stage filter, which is the virus filter, which I think, if I remember right, is like 0.1 microns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this filter apart one filter at a time. So I'm going to start at the third stage filter, which again is that most restrictive filter. Then we'll go to the second stage, and then we'll go to that first stage, which is just the one really that takes all the iron and stuff out of it. So we're going to pull this thing apart, put it back together, and test to see which one of those filters, if any, or it could be a combination of all three that's dragging my flow down. Everything's back in with the exception of that second stage filter. I've got about 2.5 gallons a minute. So I think this is about as good as we're going to get right now. It's better than the 1.6 or 1.7 I was seeing earlier. So the best we can do at this point is get some filters on order. All right, so I think we got it figured out. We're about 2.4, 2.5 again. That's way better than it was. We're gonna leave it at that.
If you're enjoying this video, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, hit that bell button so you're notified when we drop future videos. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps keep these videos coming to you each week. We really like hearing from all of you, so if you have any thoughts, ideas, or suggested topics, pop those down into the comment section. All right, so we're here at Munising Falls, which is part of Pictured Rock's National Lakeshore. And this is pretty much the only thing that we're doing today besides getting a stamp and sticker for our passport because the weather's kind of gross. but we are going to take a really cool cruise tomorrow to go see a really cool island and some coves and whatnot.
All right, seatbelts on the boat. What do you think? It's going to be a wild ride, right?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
Buckle up for safety, buckle up. Buckle up for safety, always buckle up.
And I don't do roller coasters, so yeah.
All right, you're going to hear something about safety. This is a Coast Guard certified vessel. That's like we got to go through some of that standard safety protocol, like where to find life jackets, the donning of life jackets, that sort of thing.
The instructions for securing life jackets are located at the front of the vessel. If anyone has any questions on how to secure a life jacket, please contact the captain.
I was talking to some passengers coming down the stairs. Now, I've been trying to keep people dry up to this day. This is the warmest day we've had all year. And with this wind, I'm going to be kicking some water up in the air, and some might come your way. So it's part of the game.
You have been warned.
We are now at the East Channel Lighthouse on Grand Island. Grand Island is approximately 8 miles long and 3 miles wide in width at its widest point. The lighthouse was abandoned in 1913. It is now privately owned. We will now take a ride over to Trout Bay.
Okay, so this is where I get off. You can pick me up. This part.
That's the slow part.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that was just a great way to end this Michigan trip. I actually can't think of a better way to have ended it. We're almost done here. We've only got another day left. We're leaving here day after tomorrow, headed back down to Indiana.
Yes. In the heat.
Yeah.
Weather's been cool, but really nice. So yeah, we just got done with a 90-minute Riptide Ride boat tour of the Grand Island National Refuge, I think. Super cool. We chose this one because one, it was only 90 minutes. Two, it went all the way around the island.
And we did not expect it to do what it did. I'm soaked. She's pretty wet. So this is not your boring cruise around an island. This is on a boat driven by 1,600 horsepower worth of diesel engines, and they made it fun.
It was a white knuckler. They had grab bars in front of each of the seats, and I was holding on for dear life.
Yeah. So great way to end our time here in Michigan. But at the same time, I'm also ready to get back down south, back down to some civilization. There were a lot of things that we were not prepared for while we were up here. And we're ready to get back to some of those things, I think. So anyway, Riptide Ride here in Munising, Michigan. If you're ever in the area, you've got to take this boat ride. Highly, highly recommended.
Well worth it, even for kids.
So that is the Grand Island
Recreation area.
That's what we took the boat tour around yesterday. That was a phenomenal boat ride.
Yeah, that might be the highlight of this entire Michigan trip.
I think top two, let's talk about top two most favorite things that we did here, and I think they both revolve around being on a boat. So the first is the retro boat tour.
Yep.
Retro boat tours, and then that Riptide Ride around the big island there.
Yes. And I'm not a boat person because I have like severe motion sickness, but I handled both of them really, really well.
And that wasn't just a boat ride. That was it, the name of it, Riptide Ride, man. I mean, that should tell you something. He was whipping it around, obviously doing it on purpose for the effect. It was like being on a roller coaster or a water ride at a fun park. It was really, really neat. I actually can't stress that for any of you guys that are going to be up here in this area in the Munising, Michigan area, you've got to check out that Riptide Ride. I think there are two major companies out here that do the boat tours. One is the Pictured Rocks to Boat Company or something like that, and the other one is Riptide Ride. If you want an adventure, do the Riptide Ride. If you don't want more of a nice, relaxing boat ride, go with the other company, I think.
Yes.
So, okay, now let's talk about things that we didn't expect being up here in the UP.
Yeah, and if any of you know me or have been kind of paying attention so far, I like research. I research everything. We were still unprepared.
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about things that we think really took us off guard about the Michigan Upper Peninsula. So number one is
how pretty it is up here.
Yes.
I mean, everybody told us it was going to be pretty in Michigan. I don't think we quite expected it to be this gorgeous.
Yeah, especially after being, not last year, but the year before, we were out west, in Utah, Arizona, that kind of stuff, Colorado. This rivals all of that, I think. I think I prefer the west still, but this really does rival it if you're into the lakes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It is just really beautiful up here. So we were not prepared for that at all. That was a good thing, though.
Yes, we were not prepared for how much we were going to enjoy the scenery up here. And this is definitely going to be a trip that we're going to do again.
Okay, so number two, and number two is kind of cascades into 3, 4, and 5. So number two is we were not prepared. We did not expect it to be this remote up here.
No. Once you hit the Upper Peninsula,
you're on your own.
Yeah, you're on your own. You're not gonna find a Walmart up here. You're not gonna find a Lowe's. I mean, they do have Tractor Supply. They do have Ace Hardware, but groceries, you're talking about small like IGA type stores, and you're gonna pay the price. I mean, we were shocked at the prices on some of the items that we had to get. Gas is more expensive out here. Dining out is more expensive.
It's not like going, up to Alaska. It's not like that remote, You can
Right.
find stuff. You can get whatever you need for the most part. You can get whatever you need, but you're going to pay for it.
Yes.
Which was the second thing that we weren't expecting, was just how expensive everything is up here. Obviously, because there's no Walmarts or anything up here, everything's more expensive. But then also, it's just very touristy up here. What little civilization there is up here, I feel like is all revolved around tourism.
Yes.
So that's the second reason I think that everything is more expensive up here. And then the last thing that we did not expect, that we were not prepared for at all, hasn't really caused us issues yet, but if we were going to be up here much longer, it would cause us issues, which is we're Amazon junkies, as are a lot of people, I think. So in the past, we've used USPS, so the post office, general delivery, to get our Amazon packages. We've tried it twice during this trip, and both times, maybe even three, I can't remember, two or three times, and every time our packages were rejected by the post office.
Yeah, and we're not the only ones. We have friends that are traveling in a different part of the country right now, and they're also having issues with general delivery. So that was an issue, but then, okay, so we can deal with that. So we'll just have everything sent to an Amazon locker hub, right? No.
Not.
Here in the UP, you're in the middle of nowhere, there are no Amazon hubs or lockers. So we have had to put all of our Amazon stuff on hold, and when we get back to Jeremy's dad's place, we are gonna have Christmas morning because it's all gonna be sitting waiting on us.
But it's been a great time up here. I was really glad that we did that boat ride yesterday. That was kind of the icing on the cake for this whole place, going around that island over there, especially when you get to the west side of the island and big cliffs. It's just super beautiful out there. And we did it at the right time because the day before, there was just torrential rain. Actually, in the afternoon and through the evening, just torrential rains, which caused all of those waterfalls to be happening. So it was just super beautiful. But I'm ready to go back down south.
Yes, and part of that is, as Jeremy mentioned in a previous video, is this trip we did a lot of 3-day, 4-day, 1-day, which is not normal for us. We like to do like 1-week blocks. So that's been a bit of a change for us. We've been boondocking a lot, just trying to test out our systems. And
which is good. I like the boondocking. I just don't. I'm ready to be in one place for more than 3 days or 4 days.
Yeah. So for the rest of the summer, pretty much we are in one spot for a week. So that'll be nice.
So that's going to wrap it up for this episode. That's going to wrap it up for Michigan. All right, guys. Peace out.
Yep.